Welcome back. In this lecture, let us have a closer look at Indian ragas. Ragas are basic building blocks of Indian classical music. It is derived from the Sanskrit word for color. The objective of ragas is to convey a rasa or mood to an audience. Broadly, we can define raga as a compilation of musical notes. However, there are multiple dimensions to ragas which we'll explore later in this lecture. And there is no direct concept of ragas in Western music. We can say that the jazz improvisation or modal improvisation that was popularized by the legend Miles Davis in late 1950s is sort of a raga based improvisation or improvisation of melodic phrasing. There are four dimensions to ragas that differentiate from the musical mode or modal improvisation of jazz. One is the musical patterns of ragas are much more well defined than the modal improvisation. And there are association of emotions or rasas to the ragas. That is, we can associate an emotion to a specific raga. And there are samay ragas that depending upon the time of the race, some ragas can be played. And we can extend the same concept to the seasons. There are seasonal ragas. For example, you can play a specific Malhar raga for the monsoon season or rainy season. Let's explore one by one. As I said, the musically ragas have more well defined structure of phrasing. For example, ragas have very clear ascending and descending pattern. Some ragas may have all the 7 notes in both ascending and descending, or some ragas may have 5 in the ascending and 6 in the descending, and the notes that are played in the ascending can be different from descending. And there could be complex, jumbled phrasing in the ragas that is well defined. And some of you would have listened to Indian classical music and you find the melodic phrasing or how the melody is played is slightly different. That's because the microtones and the glides we call meend and gamaks that are unique to Indian music and they are unique to specific ragas. Ragas have associated emotions. There could be a wide ranging emotions ranging from peace or serenity, shanta, or devotion, bhakti, even disgust, or fear, or bravery. There could be a multitude of emotions that can be expressed through ragas. There are 12 time segments in a day in the classical music system, and each segment have an associated group of ragas. For example, the early morning ragas are quite popular among the Indian audience thanks to Bollywood movies, and the audience can immediately relate to a early morning tune. So when you play in a classical performance, they can immediately associate that this is the early morning raga. And same way we can extend the concept to seasons. There are 6 seasons and there are associated ragas. Again, some ragas stand out, as I mentioned earlier. Raga Malhar, that is very popular for the rainy season, and the other one is Vasant, the ragas that are played in the springtime. Let us focus our attention on how a pentatonic scale played in the jazz style differs from Indian classical music. So we talk about a major pentatonic scales C, D, E, G, A. If you are improvising, they can play any combinations within this pentatonic scale, right? Whereas in Indian music, depending upon how we stress the note, how the melodic phrasing is played, they can manifest, these five notes can manifest into three different ragas. The ragas are Bhopali, Mohanam and Deshkar. I'll give you a practical demonstration. That was Rag Bhopali, the pentatonic scale. The flute is transposed to E. Let us assume that we are discussing in C major so that it's easy for us. The characteristics is the glide between C to A. The pattern ED the prominent note is E. That was Rag Mohanam. You'd have first noticed that I'm playing in a higher pitched flute, which is a characteristic of South Indian music, and it is one octave higher. And the pattern of Mohanam is similar to Bhopali, but the phrases are different and the microtones or oscillations are different from Bhopali. For example, these are all typical Mohanam phrases. was rag Deshkar, you'd have noticed the raga is rushing towards a higher octave. There are two kinds of ragas, the Purvanga Raga and Uttaranga Raga. In Purvanga Raga, like Bhopali, we stress on the lower octave like this. Whereas in the Uttaranga Raga, the raga rushes towards the higher octave like Deshkar. The emphasis is on the note A. And the pattern EDE is not allowed. Actually, in fact, when you go from E to C, the note D in between E and C is crushed, something like this. So if you see, the middle note is sandwiched between the E and C. And we cannot rest on D or emphasize, right? Something like this we cannot do. If we do that, it gives a flavor of Bhopali. So that's why it's avoided. In this lecture, we have established that ragas provide a solid foundation for music improvisation, and they are not just a mere collection of notes. They are much more than that, and they are more subtle and refined, and they convey a mood to the audience. The performer has a creative freedom to improvise the ragas within the boundaries. And mastering ragas is not difficult. It is just a mindset. It's like mastering a language. We all speak a language. The grammar may sound very difficult, but we all learn the language by listening and reflecting and practicing. It's exactly same for the ragas. In other lectures, I'll be talking about the Indian music notation, which is very important to learn, and three-step approach to improvisation that gives you a tool for you to approach the raga improvisation in a very structured manner, and some practical example or exercises in three chosen ragas. Stay tuned. I would like to see you in my next lecture. Thank you. Bye.